the time you get.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Hollywood Remembers video. Today we're honoring the American stars we've recently lost, along with other beloved figures who have touched our lives around the world. Before we dive in, if this video resonates with you, we'd truly appreciate a like. It helps us continue sharing these heartfelt tributes with the respect and care they deserve. Thank you for your support. And now, let's begin. Ruben Castillo was a proud American featherweight whose name became synonymous with courage, discipline, and quiet determination. Born on December 19, 1957, he rose through the ranks with a fighter's heart and a gentleman's spirit, earning the respect of fans and rivals alike. One of his most stirring chapters came in his 4 valiant bids for the World Championship against Hall of Fame opponents. Though the titles eluded him, his unwavering resolve in those high-stakes battles revealed the true measure of the man. He stood toe-to-toe with greatness, never retreating from the challenge, and in doing so inspired countless admirers who saw in him the very essence of perseverance. Beyond the ropes, Ruben Castillo represented something enduring, honor in competition, and dignity in both victory and defeat. His legacy is not defined solely by belts or records, but by the example he set, proof that character is the greatest triumph of all. Even today, his journey continues to encourage dreamers, athletes, and loyal fans who remember the thrill of his fights and the humility he carried throughout his life. As we reflect on his remarkable story, may we celebrate not only the boxer he was, but the inspiration he remains. If Ruben Castillo's career touched your life or stirred a cherished memory, we invite you to share your reflections and honor his enduring spirit. Jeff Galloway was a lifelong champion of endurance, discipline, and hope. Born on July 12, 1945, in Raleigh, North Carolina, he rose to national prominence as an All-American collegiate athlete and proudly represented the United States in the 10.00 meters at the 1972 Olympic Games. Yet his greatest race was the one he ran alongside everyday people, teaching them that perseverance belongs to everyone. A defining moment in his life's work was the publication of Galloway's book on running, a guide that transformed the way countless men and women approach the sport. With wisdom and encouragement, he introduced methods that made running accessible to beginners and veterans alike, proving that progress is built step by steady step. His words became as powerful as his stride, offering confidence to those who once doubted they could go the distance. Jeff Galloway's legacy lives not only in medals and records, but in the millions who laced up their shoes because he believed in them. He reminded us that age is no barrier to movement, and that each mile carries the promise of renewal. As we honor his remarkable journey, we invite you to reflect on the paths he helped you travel. If his guidance, races, or writings touched your life, please share your memories and celebrate the enduring inspiration he leaves behind. Bobby Douglas was a steadfast figure in American wrestling, a competitor of grit, and a mentor of lasting influence. Born in 1942 in Bel Air, Ohio, he rose to represent the United States as a featherweight at the 1964 and 1968 Olympic Games, finishing an admirable 4th in 1964, just steps from the podium yet firmly in the hearts of supporters. His excellence extended to the MSO stage, where he earned a silver medal at the 1966 World Championships and a bronze in 1970. These achievements reflected not only strength and technique, but unwavering dedication to his craft. When he retired from competition in 1970, his journey in wrestling was far from over. As a coach, he shaped generations of athletes, instilling discipline, humility, and respect for the sport he loved so deeply. Bobby Douglas leaves behind more than medals and matches. He leaves a tradition of perseverance and mentorship. His life reminds us that true greatness is measured not only by personal victories, but by the lives uplifted along the way. As we remember his remarkable path, let us honor both the champion and the teacher. If Bobby Douglas inspired you, on the mat or beyond, please share your memories and reflections as we celebrate his enduring legacy with gratitude and pride. In the quiet stretch of his career when most stars chase reinvention, George Strait has practiced something rarer: steadiness. The hat, the posture, the unforced baritone None of it feels like costume. It feels like a man who decided long ago that songs should fit the listener the way a well-worn chair fits the body. That decision has shaped decades of American evenings, from neon dance floors to living rooms where the volume stays low, so conversation can breathe. What stands out now is not the noise of acclaim, but the discipline of presence. Strait steps on stage with the calm of someone arriving to do honest work. He lets the band settle, lets the lyric land, and trusts that a story told plainly can carry more weight than any vocal gymnastics. There is dignity in that restraint. It suggests respect for time, his own, the audience's, and the songwriters. For many who have watched country music change its clothes again and again, he has been a fixed point on the dial. Not frozen, not stubborn, simply reliable. His records moved through generations without demanding that families split into camps. Parents recognized the cadence. Children absorbed the melodies. Grandparents heard the echo of earlier halls. In that way, his music became a shared language, a gentle bridge over the small disagreements that age can bring. Tonight's tribute begins there, in that steadiness, because it is a kind of care. It reminds us that longevity does not have to be loud. Sometimes it is the patient act of showing up, singing true, and letting the years gather like dust motes in stage light, visible, harmless, and strangely beautiful. And if you have ever driven a long highway with his voice beside you, you know how comfort can feel like courage, quietly enduring still. Long before arenas filled with the steady hum of anticipation, there was a young man in Texas listening carefully to the shape of a melody and the weight of a word. George Strait did not arrive with the thunder of spectacle. He arrived with alignment, his voice matching the grain of traditional country, his temperament matching the plain-spoken stories that define it. In a decade eager for polish and shine, he offered clarity. When the early records began to circulate, there was a feeling of recognition among listeners who had grown up with fiddle and steel guitar as companions to ordinary life. Strait did not treat those sounds as relics. He handled them as living instruments, worthy of respect. Songs like Amarillo by Morning and All My Exes Live in Texas carried humor and longing in equal measure, and they traveled far beyond state lines without losing their regional heartbeat. What distinguished him was not merely adherence to tradition, but the absence of pretense. He sang as though he had nothing to prove. That quiet confidence shaped the so-called neo-traditional movement of the 1980s, not through manifesto but through example. Younger artists watched and understood that success need not require abandoning roots. In preserving the architecture of classic country, he made room for growth without erasure. There is something profoundly American in that balance, honoring inheritance while allowing the present to breathe. Strait's rise did not fracture the genre, it steadied it. Even as trends shifted around him, he maintained a center that listeners could trust. The radio became less a battleground of novelty and more a familiar porch light, glowing night after night. And so his influence extended quietly. It shaped playlists, inspired careers, and affirmed that authenticity could still command attention. It reminded audiences that artistry, when grounded in humility, travels farther than flash. That lesson continues to resonate, steady as a heartbeat beneath the wide Texas sky. There is a particular grace in the middle seasons of a long life, when applause is no longer a surprise and neither is silence. George Strait has inhabited that middle ground with uncommon composure. By the time accolades accumulated and records were measured in historic numbers, he had already settled into a rhythm that fame could not easily disturb. He toured with consistency, recorded with purpose, and then returned home, as though celebrity were simply another task to be managed with care. In interviews and public appearances, there has always been an economy to his words. He does not rush to fill space. He allows pauses. That restraint reveals a man who understands that identity is not constructed in headlines, but in habits. Those who have followed his journey for decades recognize this pattern. The spectacle may belong to the stage, yet the steadiness belongs to the man. Family, ranch life, and the open Texas landscape have never felt like accessories to his career. They appear woven into it. The songs carry dust, wind, distance, and devotion because those elements are part of his lived experience. Success did not detach him from those roots. If anything, it clarified them. He became, over time, less a star reaching outward and more a figure standing firmly where he began. For audiences who have aged alongside him, that constancy offers reassurance. It suggests that one can grow older without surrendering authenticity. It shows that achievement need not erode humility. In a culture often captivated by reinvention, Strait's continuity feels almost radical. His presence now carries the weight of years well kept, a testament not to reinvention, but to alignment between voice, values, and the quiet dignity of living deliberately. There comes a moment in every enduring career when the conversation shifts from momentum to meaning. With George Strait, that shift did not arrive abruptly. It unfolded gradually, almost imperceptibly, as years layered upon years, and the familiar timbre of his voice became a companion to life's milestones. Weddings, long drives, quiet evenings after work. His songs settled into these spaces without fanfare, as if they had always belonged there. What defines this stage is not merely achievement, though the records stand tall and the titles are well documented. It is the atmosphere he creates when he performs. Even in vast stadiums, there is a sense of scale that feels intimate. He does not chase theatrics. He allows the song to breathe. The audience responds not with frenzy alone, but with recognition. They know the lyrics not because they were instructed to learn them, but because the songs have accompanied their own stories. Time has a way of softening edges, and in Strait's case it has deepened resonance. The younger man who once carried dance hall energy now carries perspective. The notes may rest slightly lower, the tempo slightly steadier, yet the emotional current remains unmistakable. It is not about proving vitality. It is about honoring continuity. For generations who have witnessed his path, there is comfort in seeing him remain himself. In an industry that often rewards transformation for its own sake, he has demonstrated another path, to refine rather than reinvent. That choice reflects an understanding of craft that values durability over novelty. As this tribute pauses in appreciation, it does so with gratitude for a living presence that continues to stand firm. George Strait remains not as an echo of the past, but as a steady figure in the present, reminding us that authenticity, carried faithfully across decades, can become a quiet form of strength that still guides the rhythm of American life.